Most people believe the greatest nuclear threat to America came from its enemies, from the Cold War, from the Soviet Union. But one of the closest moments to nuclear destruction did not come from an enemy at all. It came from inside the United States. On January 24, 1961, at the height of Cold War paranoia, a U.S. Air Force B-52 bomber took off from Seymour Johnson Air Force Base in North Carolina. Its mission was routine: patrol the skies, remain airborne. What the public didn't know was that the aircraft was carrying 2 hydrogen bombs, each far more powerful than the bomb dropped on Hiroshima. Mid-flight, disaster struck. Fuel began leaking uncontrollably. The plane lost stability. The crew fought to save it, but failed. At more than 30,000 feet, the bomber broke apart in the sky. Wreckage fell across farmland near Goldsboro, North Carolina. And then something far worse followed. One of the nuclear bombs separated from the aircraft exactly as it would during a real wartime attack. Its parachute deployed. The weapon began its arming sequence. Switch after switch activate. Out of 6 safety mechanisms, 5 failed. Only one single switch prevented a nuclear detonation. 1. Had that final safeguard failed, much of the eastern United States would have been destroyed. Entire cities erased. Hundreds of thousands dead instantly. And the world would have believed it was an act of war. The second bomb plunged into the ground, breaking apart underground. Part of it was never recovered. To this day, it remains buried beneath American soil. A silent reminder of how close everything came to ending. The public was told almost nothing. Officials called the incident safe and controlled. The truth stayed classified for decades. When documents were finally declassified, one conclusion became unavoidable. America survived that day not because of perfect systems, but because of pure luck. And luck is not a strategy. In the hours after the crash, the U.S. military moved fast. Not to inform the public, but to control the narrative. Roads near the crash site were sealed off. Soldiers guarded the fields. Local residents were told nothing beyond vague reassurances. Farmers watched armed men search their land. Families were ordered to stay inside. Questions were met with silence. Behind closed doors, officials understood how close the country had come to catastrophe. Internal reports revealed a chilling reality. The hydrogen bomb that parachuted down had gone through nearly its entire detonation sequence. Low voltage switch triggered. High voltage switch triggered. Arming mechanisms active. Only one final failsafe remained. One weak point between life and annihilation. Instead of admitting the danger, the government chose secrecy. Public statements described the weapons as never armed, completely safe, impossible to detonate accidentally. Those statements were false. Scientists who later reviewed the data warned that the design itself was flawed. Too much depended on single points of failure. Too much faith placed in machines behaving perfectly under chaos. For years, requests to release information were denied. Documents were stamped classified. Even members of Congress were kept in the dark. The people living above the buried bomb never knew what lay beneath them. Children played in those fields. Homes were built nearby. Life continued, unaware. It wasn't until decades later, through lawsuits and declassification efforts, that the truth surfaced. A senior engineer involved in the investigation admitted something chilling. We were lucky, very lucky. Luck had saved the country. Not plan, not control. This revelation forced a terrifying question into the open. If this nearly happened once, how many other times did humanity come just as close? And how many of those moments are still hidden? The incident in North Carolina was not an exception. It was a warning. Because once the truth began to surface, experts uncovered a disturbing pattern. Again and again, nuclear disaster had been narrowly avoided, not through brilliance, but through chance. In 1983, at the height of Cold War tension, a Soviet early warning system suddenly reported something unthinkable. 5 nuclear missiles, launched from the United States, were heading toward the Soviet Union. Alarms screamed, red lights flashed. Protocol demanded retaliation. Within minutes, a single decision would determine the fate of the world. The man on duty was Lieutenant Colonel Stanislav Petrov. According to Soviet doctrine, he was required to report the attack immediately. That report would have triggered a full nuclear response. Millions dead, but something felt wrong. Petrov noticed inconsistencies in the data. The system showed only 5 missiles, not the hundreds expected in a real first strike. Against orders, against training, he made a decision. He did nothing. The alarms were false. A reflection of sunlight off clouds had tricked the satellite system. Had Petrov followed protocol, nuclear war would have begun within minutes. Instead, the world survived silently. This was not an isolated moment. In 1995, Russia briefly believed the United States had launched another nuclear attack. In 1979, U.S. computers mistakenly showed a massive Soviet strike. In 1980, a faulty chip nearly triggered retaliation again. Each time, humanity stood on the edge. Each time, survival depended on human hesitation, not machine certainty. These moments reveal a dangerous truth. The systems designed to protect us were never perfect. They were fragile, complex, and terrifyingly fallible. And yet, most people never hear these stories because fear is inconvenient and admitting vulnerability is uncomfortable. But wisdom demands honesty. These near misses did not end with the Cold War. They only faded from public memory. Today, thousands of nuclear weapons remain on high alert, ready to launch within minutes. Modern systems are faster, more automated, and more complex than ever before. Supporters argue this makes the world safer. Critics warn it makes catastrophe more likely because speed leaves no room for doubt and automation leaves little room for human judgment. In recent years, experts have warned that false alarms are still possible. Cyber attacks, software glitches, human misinterpretation. All it takes is one error, one rushed decision to repeat history. But this time, there may be no Petrov, no hesitation, no second chance. Declassified military assessments admit something uncomfortable. No system is immune to failure. Technology does not remove human weakness. It amplifies it. And when power moves faster than wisdom, mistakes become irreversible. This is why these stories matter. Not to scare, but to remind. Because the danger is not only in weapons themselves, it is in overconfidence, in the belief that control is absolute. History shows the people who lived near Goldsboro never chose to be part of history. They were protected by luck, not policy, and luck runs out. Wisdom comes from pain only if we remember it, only if we learn, only if we stay aware. After every near miss, officials promised improvement, new safeguards, better systems, more control. And yet, the core danger never disappeared, because nuclear weapons do not exist in isolation. They exist inside human systems, built by people, maintained by people, and operated under pressure. During the Cold War, leaders believed deterrence would prevent mistakes. That fear would keep everyone rational. But history showed something else. Desirous does not slow decisions, it accelerates them. In moments of uncertainty, leaders are forced to choose between hesitation and annihilation, often with incomplete information. Military simulations revealed a terrifying truth. In many scenarios, false alarms escalated faster than real attacks. Why? Because doubt feels more dangerous than certainty. Doing nothing feels risky. Doing something feels decisive, and decisiveness has always been mistaken for strength. Over time, this mindset became embedded in policy. Launch-on warning doctrines, automated responses, shortened decision windows, systems designed not to think but to react. The lesson from Goldsboro, from Petrov, from every near disaster was clear. Control is an illusion. We survived not because we mastered destruction, but because occasionally someone questioned it. Today's nuclear danger no longer looks like the past. There are no bombers breaking apart in the sky, no Cold War sirens echoing through underground bunkers. The threat has become quieter and more dangerous. Modern nuclear systems now depend on software, satellites, sensors, algorithms processing data faster than any human mind. And every one of these systems can fail. A software bug, a cyber intrusion. Experts warn that the next false alarm may not come from broken hardware, but from bad data. In classified war simulations, analysts discovered something disturbing. Cyber interference caused early warning systems to misinterpret harmless signals as incoming nuclear missiles. The response timelines were the same. Seconds to analyze, minutes to decide. Moments before irreversible destruction. Unlike the Cold War, decision time is shrinking. Today, leaders may have less than 5 minutes to confirm an alert before responding. 5 minutes to trust machines. 5 minutes to doubt reality. 5 minutes to choose the fate of millions. And here is the most unsettling truth of all. There may be no single human left to hesitate. No lone officer questioning the system, no moment of doubt. Because automation removes hesitation, and hesitation has saved the world before. The more control we give to machines, the less room there is for wisdom. In the final part, we confront what this means for all of us, and what wisdom after pain truly demands, before it is too late. History rarely ends with explosions. It ends with lessons, if we choose to learn them. The nuclear age did not spare humanity because we were prepared. It spared us because we were lucky. Luck looked like safety switches that barely held, like sunlight reflecting off clouds, like one person hesitating when a machine demanded action. Small, enormous consequences. Wisdom after pain means understanding that survival was never guaranteed. It was borrowed. Borrowed from doubt. Borrowed from restraint. The weapons still exist. The systems remain active. The timelines are shorter than ever. What has not changed is the choice. Whether speed matters more than judgment. Whether power matters more than responsibility. Technology can calculate outcomes. It cannot measure consequences. Only humans can do that, and only if we slow down long enough to question what we are about to unleash. This story has no final moment, no clear ending, because the ending is being written now, in policies, in command rooms, in seconds of hesitation. Wisdom after pain is not about fear. It is about memory. Remembering how close everything came to ending. And choosing again and again to never let it happen.